Hey, you tourists, it's your boy Domination. This is Back in the Basic. Chuck of the Deuces, how we do Texas, baby. Again, the Ogre place, 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 Ogre place. Oh, place go get it. 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 It's right back in the basic. Chuck of the Deuces, how we do Texas, baby. That dog is back. You know what it is, know what it is, know what it is, know what it is, know what it is. Real man rise up, fake man rise down. Real women rise up, fake women rise down. Practice what I preach and preach on. And today's topic, what I'm talking about is United stand against racism. See, this is what racism is all about. You see that? This is what racism is all about. That's been brain tube and untube and tubing off the television tube, off the set. All you living in what I call it matriarchy and ancient patriarchy and unpatriarchy masonry and unpockadot. That's what the term racism, and it just said it right there because I read it. See, racism is a certain belief that's a person that practice that preaching of a certain hate from another group of members, another group. They feel they superior and being ruled, and other people feel like they inferior and inferior, that they can't get certain things they couldn't afford, and they could be superior because they can afford things certain things they can't or how can I say this? If they feel superior, they can certain things they can work for. If they feel superior, they're how can I say this? I'm gonna say this again. I'm trying to slow down. Kind of tired, but racism is about economic status, economic power, access and wealth and resources. That's what racism is. I feel like another group feels superior. They can feel before another lifestyle. They could before that other people could not afford because they inferior, and the ones who inferior, there's certain things they could never afford, they can't afford it. See, that's what the racism about. It's about where you're at and where you live, who the people you're around, who the people you hang around with or hang around with. Who you can identify, who the people you can who you can identify with, who you can relate to, who you can't relate to. You can't relate to another race. You can relate to the same towardsmen or races. You can relate because that's your culture. If you don't believe me, what racism is about? Let's say if a white person, white people, it's been called many names: Caucasian, Europe, crackers, or a suburban white guys or whatever. From the Italians to the Irish to the Jewish to the Germans, I can go on and on. Even Russia, most of them buy this mindset because it's passed down and passing down to traces, ancestors, and how to trace it, their ancestors has been passed down. That's their culture. But all white people don't think like that. Most of them do. Quite a few of them don't think like that. They look at people like everybody else. But most of them, the bad ones, they believe in it. And the ones have been taught from that sicko and sick and paired ass mindset from their parents. See, that's of the epitome of white people and epitome of white people who certain they would not believe, and certain people they do believe. See, that's the mindset. And I know some white people have been slaves too, just as much as blacks, Latinos, Asian, and everybody else. White people slave blacks, they slave Native Americans, they slave every other people. And white and black people been enslaved against their own people. Some people say that, they was enslaved by the Middle East. I don't know how true that is, but that's what I've been hearing. And that explains why they hate the Middle East so much. Most of them, quite a few of them don't. But that's the white community. White community, there's good of them, there's bad of them. Do I run and interact with a good white person? Every now and then. But a bad one? Yeah. Because there's somebody throwing eggs and throwing the food on my porch, and it was an average white person, him and his dad. But it really his son. But see, little he don't know, he been unentombing off of his brain and mental idiotic and unmodic, thick, arithmetic brain in his head. He been conditioned to think like that. Some white people, you gotta understand, you can't get nothing but to get mad at them, but at the same time, you can't get mad because some of them been lied to by their own people and everyone else. Because they're gonna realize they've been slaving off of the brain and into the brain just as much as everybody. See, that's the mindset. Even if you think they're crackers, even if you think they're Caucasian, they come from the Caucasian mountain. If car and Cajun, Asian, where you think the short word from Asian came from? White people come from Europe. That's what the trace of their ancestors, from all the way to the trace of the DNA. And I can go on. What do you think the term redneck making for the poor white people or poor white trash? A trailer park, untrailer and off the trailer pet trashes. Because that's the hood and hood logic and hood unlogic version of white people where they live at. Even if they come to suburb and trailer bourbon. See, that's what it called. If you know it's been separate. See, that's their culture. Either some are good or some are not. Some white people are cool in my book, some are not. I hang around with the good ones, but not the bad ones. I can't stand racists. I can't stand them because they've been reconditioned to think like that, and they've been taught so long. But it ain't the other people they worried about. It's their own they need to worry about because they can turn on them just as much. They be called a nigger lover, white spec on a lump of trash, about the trash, motherfucking white person. They'll say all kinds of shit because white people always portray in movies is being a white savior, lord and saves, because they portray themselves as paganistic, unpaganistic gods, even though they're not. Some of them are word, or some of them are not, and they portray themselves as evil, deluded, undeluded devils, and some of them are, and some of them not. That's every other people other people. And we need to stop trying to blame them. We could blame some of them who benefit and keep unbenefit why this stuff is happening to blacks and everybody else. Because that make them you think you're trying to earn up their guilt, their white guilt, to make them shame. They're white. They're white people. Did a video saying apologize to slaves. They don't need to. They need to, but that's enough. They ain't got to do all that. I understand some of them talk like that. But you can't hate all of them because they everywhere. I understand some of them just can't trust them, and they think the same thing. Some white people can't trust nothing but their own or anyone else. That's just how they was taught. Don't just hate them for what they did and what they say. Hate them for what they done and what certain actions and reenactions they cause and uncause to people. That's everybody. Let's go to the white. And we already go to whites. Let's go to blacks. Black people, we like the third generation, right? Before whites, Native American, and black. We're the third. Some people argue that we would have been victimized and unvictimized. And yeah, we is the victimized and they the victimized posers. But at the same time, we do more harm in each other and our own very good. If you don't believe me, you better look at that Willie Lynch letter, How to Make a Slave, and that's black self-hatred. Is this versus black men versus black woman versus light-skinned man versus light-skinned woman. I mean, light-skinned man and light-skinned dark-skinned man versus young versus old. You know, all that stuff, straight to gay. Against straight or gay, they broke us in groups, just like they broke whites in groups. That white people have a hard time getting along with, from the rednecks to the average white person, and even in Caucasian or Europeans. You got black people, the same thing, from Africans to black or African American. I hate that damn term, African American. African American is the one that's positive. The ones who putting on this, how we the person not doing nothing. Oh, Lord, gonna get us through. Oh, Lord is gonna get us through. We always portraying that when we sick, we sick. You get the mindset. See, that's why I can't see that movie Butler. I getting tired of seeing these type of movies, how it's portrayed blacks, and we don't act like that. African American or Black America or Africans or wherever we want to call ourselves, Negro race or whatever, or Caucasian, they call Caucasian, or European, or dirty whites or dirty Europeans. That explains why the term. Come on. When white people stay in the sun too long, they stay stun tan and they turning bloodshot red. When black people stay in the sun, our skin is peeling out, especially dark people, because some people still believe to this day that black people been cursed, and the curse of Ham. All you gotta do is look in the Bible. It was all there. It was all been taught. And you know, I hate that term African American. I really do. Martin Luther King is African American. Malcolm X is Afro American, Negro American, or Black American. That's that's Black America for Malcolm X. Black America is like Negro American, like Trayvon Martin. That incident. And it's been taught and passed on from certain neighborhoods and certain inner city youth and from urban ghetto life. And a lot of people don't know the term ghetto and hood. Ghetto is come from the Jewish slum community. Hood is come from a short word from neighborhood. Projects, they live in public housing projects. When they live in public housing, they didn't call it projects then. That's when white people used to stay and all that. But when the access to drug and the crime and this and that, white people moved the fuck out of there when the crimes got high. That's when white people used to live right near to right near to blacks, and blacks live right near the whites. But it's not like that. But it's like that now. But back in the 60s and 70s and 80s, but really it was the 40s and 50s. It was different. But 60s and 80s come around, everything changed. But really got fucked up when the 80s came in. When the 80s era, that's when white people moved the fuck out of there. See, that's the mindset. Mindset's like they use we use the word in terms that nigga like an endearment, and take the positive and make it to you know, instead of white people they say nigger in a hateful manner, hateful sense, from the NIEGGER. But we trace it with the E, left the E off and let the R out of it and put the NIGGA. And I'm guilty of this. Because a lot of people died and people buried and burned out alive and being hanged from trees and beaten and for throwing, you know, the shooting holes and dog holes and all that. And a lot of people died to take the fence off of that word and re-fence of that word. And I understand why. Because that's took the power and too much power over that. See, that made white people, because white people came up that word. We didn't came up with, we just spelled it in a different sentence, in an undifferent sentence. This is why they couldn't say it. This is why, because they the ones been enslaved to blacks. After their whites was been enslaved off their own people. After they enslaved their people, they enslaved Native Americans, then they enslaved blacks. White Asia's been hostily treated by their people and been enslaved by whites. Everybody's been enslaving off and re-enslaving and off enslaving off each other. Everybody does it. See, that's what the difference between African American and Black American. Africans is like this. Africans would come from like Obama. Obama is African and African American, but he ain't no Black American. He don't know what it's like being pulled by the car. He don't know what it's like being stopped by police and run by the cops. Now he probably facing humiliation, unmilliated, militarized racism right now, and people talking about him. But he don't know what it feels like to live in certain experience and Black experience and Black in a certain manner, matter how some of our people felt. That's what my culture. Africans are like this. Africans always consider that they get everything done and redone together. You know, they don't want nothing to do with Black Americans and not even African American. See, you know the difference. I said African American and Black American and Africans. See, they broken in groups. That explains why we don't get along. You got different parts of Black, just like different parts of white. Different parts of whites, like Italians, Irish, Jewish, the suburb white guy, you know, and the rednecks and hillbillies and all this other stuff, yada yada yada, from rich and poor and middle class. and you got different parts of black like different parts of black like different parts of black is African, African American, black, or from Jamaica to Trinidad to Bahamas there are black Creoles, black British, black Jewish. There are different parts of black everywhere, just like different parts of white. And shall go on. See, notice I shared the pattern different too. I already talked about white. I already talked about black. But let's go to Latino brothers and sisters. I don't know too much about Latinos, but I will tell you this: you got different parts of Latino, certain groups like Puerto Ricans, Dominican, Mexican, and Brazilian, and Colombian, and Cubans. I can go on. It's different parts of Latinos, brothers and sisters. Notice I said Mexicans. Mexicans are not Caribbeans like Puerto Rican and Cuba and Colombian. They live in a certain island and islanders from island like Bahamas and and this and that and stuff. Notice I said that. See, Mexicans are Spanish. And Brazilians, when I said Brazil are Latino people, but they're not Spanish. They speak their own certain Latin language called Ecuadorian. Start with the letter P on it. Ecuadorian. That's how they speak. That's how they was taught. They was mixed between different certain skin of dark, white, and karma. They mix between the two, and you got that's Brazilian. Puerto Ricans mix between black, Native American, and European. If you put all that together, you got Puerto Rican. And they was the last Native American tribe that died off in Puerto Rico when Christopher Columbus came in there. But really it's Native Americans and Christopher Columbus. See, people say Christopher Columbus was the one discovered America. A lot of people say it was Native America. I think both of them did. But really Christopher Columbus was discovered around. Then was Native Americans that introduced how everything was in America. When Christopher Columbus came in there, because Christopher Columbus did travel with boat ship. That's in European culture. Now, there are Latino brothers that don't like each other. You got Puerto Ricans and Mexicans. They don't like each other. You got Dominicans and blacks. They don't like each other. For so long, Dominicans look black. They do. If you honestly, but you better not tell Dominicans they black. They will say, well, I'm not black. I'm Dominican. I'm not black. But you look the term. You look in certain color line and unline of black. But you got some Dominicans look white. Some Dominicans look bright white light. They look like that. That's Dominican. All that together, from European to black and Spanish and Spaniard, is that's Dominican. And right living next to Haiti, and to all the rest of the other countries, for all the Caribbean. Okay, you got Cubans and Colombians don't like each other. And it's kind of sad, but it's going on. I'm telling you, it's not even funny. But I don't know too much about Latinos, but I know they speak their certain different language, like Pig Latin. That's Caribbean. I mean, that's Colombian. That's Colombian speaking English, speaking Pig Latin. That's Colombian language. Just like Brazilians speaking Ecuadorian. Mexicans are speaking Spanish. Even though there's a difference between a Mexican and Mexican American. Mexican American, they speak in Spanish, but they don't speak as much as Spanish and Spanish people in Mexico. Because if you look at the movie called Selena, and her father was trying to tell her, you better speak Spanish, because over there, because there's a difference between a Mexican and Mexican American, just like there's a difference between a Black American and African American. That's why we come up with these goddamn fucking terms. We broke into groups. Like Latino brothers, sisters, they broken in groups. All of them come from Spain. Just like blacks, we come from African. But we won't say that. We'll say, I'm black in America, but I'm not African. I'm not African. I'm African American. See, we came up with these fucking terms. How many times you hear white people say they Caucasian? They'll say a white America, but they will not say I'm Caucasian. They'll say they will never say European. They'll say a white America. They'll say they Italian. They say they Irish. They say they this and that. You never hear it. Now I don't know about rednecks. Rednecks, they say the redneck, they come from suburban rednecks with a federal flag. There is history about that. That some of my people felt that it would support slavery, support civil war and civil war abuse on black people. White suburbans, white suburban whites from the South don't feel that way. That's that Southern and Southernistic pride they felt, and that's why this Peggy, whatever the name, that cook lady bitch, that uncooked lady bitch, I don't know what her name is, Peggy. Whatever her name is, you know what I'm talking about. That incident, she said black people dress better dressing than slaves and stuff like that. And it's really funny. It's funny. I don't even like the bitch no way on what she says. And then she want to apologize, and she just using the word. But it don't surprise me because white people feel like they say the word anyway. Because when they hear us, we say it, they can say it. It's crazy. Just like the term cracker. How many people use the term cracker and honky? Pack of wood. You don't hear that much. Or Woody Wood, pack of wood, motherfucker. You don't hear blue eye viciously ass devils. You'll say that. Black people will say the word motherfucker, black self-hatred, or will say house negro, field negro, hybrid negro, handkerchief head, Sambo, Uncle Ruckus type ass shit. We'll say that. See, that's our culture. Their culture is a lot more different. Especially Latino brothers, they come from us than black. Come on now, black and brown is still a minority. They both minority, even some whites, but majority is Asian and white. They control all the access of wealth. That's what racism is all about. Let's go. We already go Latino brothers and sisters. We did white. We did black. Let's go Asians. Asians, they like this. Asian people, from Japanese to Chinese to Trinidad and to Bangkok and Filipino. Filipino is mixed with Spanish and Asian. Come on, if you don't believe me, you look at all that together. And even North Korea, even China. I mean, I can go on, because without Asians, it wouldn't be toys. Every time you found toys, it's made in Asia, made in Japan, and made it somewhere. Even video games, even cartoons. You got to give Asian credit. I mean, look at Bruce Lee. They the ones created martial arts, for crying out loud. They came up, and then Japanese came out with the samurai and the sumo wrestling, all that stuff. I mean, come on. My favorite cartoon show was in Japan, Naruto and Dragon Ball Z. I used to love that show. I used to love that show a lot. And it's all the way straight to Japan, because they call it karate, and Japanese people came up came up with martial arts. Hold on thought 1 second. I'll be right back. Hold on thought 1 second, because I got an answer from the door right quick. I'm sorry. I'm back. I'm just gonna get to the door. That's one of my family, my mother. But as I saying again, you got Asian and come from different parts. They broken in groups. If you look at that movie Chinese Connection by Bruce Lee, there was a tension between Japanese and Chinese. They did not get along. They didn't. Because Chinese always in the back in the poor corners of the side of the world. And look what they did to the Chinese. Look what they did to Japanese. Japanese were being entouraged and being timerized for what they did to their people, especially white American brothers and sisters. You got white guys been married Japanese women, have kids. You got white women married a Japanese man. It does happen. White people and Asians mess around for a very long time before blacks messing with white and Latino brothers. Let's just say it, everybody messed with everybody. They became enemies, friends, and lovers. There was a book called a published book between the Jewish and the Jewish and blacks, the secret of Jewish and blacks, because they had a history of sharing of relationship with one another. They became enemies, they became friends, they became lovers. That's why you got black Israel, even white Israel. Come on now, but Asian brothers and sisters, man, that's who controls their damn wealth, man, because they the one build railroads and find the damn gold. White people the one create America. They the one create the money. They the one create Democrat Republicans. Black people, we want to create picking cotton. We created different genres of music. We dominated sports. I'll give you that. We did that shit. We did it. But like I said again, you got Asians got along now, but back then Japanese and Chinese did not like each other at all. They can't stand one another, and there was some tension between blacks and white in history. Blacks and I mean not blacks and whites. There's a tension going on between blacks and Asians because a lot of times Asians get robbed by against blacks, and just as much as Middle East got robbed by blacks, there was some tension frenzy going on from the California to New York City, even here in some ways. But they trying to make a peace together to get along. Ever since that Rodney King verdict, it was a tension between North Korea and black. It was a tension going on, especially Korean people. Oh yeah, it was a black girl got shot for stealing a bottle of orange juice, and this Asian girl shot her for nothing. She just shot her. I could understand she was about to rob that store. She didn't have to kill her. It was fucked up what happened, and they let the woman go because it was a self defense, and there was some tension going on between Koreans and blacks, just like there's tension between Asians and whites, and there's tensions with Asians and Latinos. Latinos had tension with whites and blacks and everybody. Everybody was at a war of racial tension one another. Blacks did it, whites did it, Latinos did it, Asians did it. Everybody done it. So we already talked about Asian brothers and sisters, but let's talk about Native Americans. Native Americans, they covered certain district and certain district tribe they came from. I don't know too much about tribes, but I do know that it was a Cherokee. They even wrote a song about it. And people used to make fun of Native Americans. 1 Indian, 2 Indian, 3 Indian, 4 Indian, 5 Indian, 6 Indian, 7 Indian, 8 Indian, 9 Indian, 10 Indian, 10,000 dead Indians from California to Texas to Oklahoma. They had to settle there over there in Oklahoma, and it was a lot of tension over there between the Cowboys and Indians, and into the what's it called, the brought out Thanksgiving Day, the Thanksgiving dinner, Pilgrims. That's the original Europeans. You know, even though they come from they ain't come from the island. They come from the caveman, the Caucasus Mountain, the caveman man and caveman woman. That was the first. Then they trying to say it was blacks come from the damn monkeys and apes. That is not fucking true. We was originated from Africa, and they brought us out here. But there were blacks all over here when they brought blacks out here. This is nothing new. Look at the movie. Look at the movie series Roots. If you don't believe me, Kuta Kinte. Kuta Kinte come from Africa, different tribes of Africa. That's what the tribes came from, Native Americans. When they brought them out here, and you know, and there was blacks everywhere. See, that's the tension would begin between from island blacks and blacks in America. From African American, Black American, and Africans. It was some tension going on. There was a tension between Europeans against other white Americans, and there was a tension between the Italians and the blacks. A lot of people don't know it. Look at that movie called Carlito Way. Watch that movie in full, and it was in Puerto Ricans right in the middle of it. With both wars, they went at the Puerto Ricans too. But it was a lot of history going on. It's a lot of history. The whole Boston, people from Boston. It was some Boston school bus racial tension between the Italians and the blacks. It was some problems there. It was. I don't know if they would fight over a bunch of buses that get their kids at school. I don't know what it was. They had to stay in certain neighborhood. Look in the movie called Bronx Tales, and when Rob De Niro talks about this, and his dad messed with a black woman after he messed with a black woman. A lot of this stuff been going on. It's been going on for a long time. That's what tribes come from. Without Native Americans, it wouldn't be casinos. It wouldn't be houses built on the straw. People use a straw with Native Americans. They the ones that discovered Thanksgiving, and they the ones who originated the design to build America. Right along with blacks was building the White House. I mean, come on. All this stuff is history. All of that. We already talked about Native American brothers and sisters. We already talked about whites, blacks, Latinos, and we already did Asians. But this time we're going to talk about Middle East. Middle East are the ones created the oil. They the ones found the oil to found the riches and fame of oil in certain countries. You know, they the ones who, it's a lot going on over there in the Middle East. It is. They the one Islam, all that stuff, and paid to Allah and Nation Islam and Muslim and Arab people. They the ones create the run the gas station stores for the pumping the oil, how much the gas is. A lot of people don't know, man. That's where you get oil at, to Nigeria, to the United States, to Pakistan, to even and back that even Iraq. That's where you find oil at. I mean, did you know there's the larger oil pump and oil company in United States history? Y'all don't know that. I'm telling you, this is why they need Middle East. Just like they need whites, they need blacks, they need Latinos, Asians, the whole damn fucking nine. We created all this shit. We didn't create all of it. We create some of the things we do, and they create the rest of the things, and everybody create the fuller things. We all built America together. We all did it, from the white to black to Native Americans, Latinos, and even Middle East. Even Native American, everybody did it. My point is this: that's what racism is all about. All you got to do is look in your history. All I can say to blacks, whites, Latinos, Asian, Middle East, Native American, everybody else, stop fighting amongst each other, because we need to be united front, united together, because they want us to fight against who's black, who's white, who's this, who's that. Who gives a fuck? They want us to keep doing that. And hopefully one day we'll bring a peace gathering, peace as a gathering as a whole. But we're going to continue to keep on fighting, because we can read and benefit and sharing the, certain wealth about United States. That's what racism is all about: economic power, economic status, access, and recess and wealth. Because they feel a certain group of race feel like they superior and other people inferior. They're superior because they can afford the things that they can afford that nobody else can afford, and they feel inferior because there's certain things they could not afford what they can afford. That's what racism is all about. So get that shit in your head, educate yourself, and educate your mind and your wisdom for yourself, and that's what racism is always about, and always meant to be, and what it shouldn't be. And that's all I can say about that. And it's your boy Domination. That's the back of the base that you're going to do. This is how we do Texas, baby. Until next time, all right? All right. Peace, and I'm out.